Hello and welcome to my reality Jeep life with me, the Vermont Jeep Girl, and this is my daily vlog of 2013. Me and Lola decided to spend some time this afternoon. The trails here in Vermont are still way too wet and way too muddy to be able to be on yet. So to preserve those trails, I decided to take Lola out, and we're actually hitting the back roads here, which are, well-traveled roads. They're not trails in the woods. And we've come to one of my favorite spots here in Vermont, and we're right now in Wells, Vermont, and behind me is Lake St. Catherine. Lake St. Catherine is a wonderful memory place for me. I grew up here as a child, and I spent many hours out on this lake, in the boat, at our family's cottage, swimming on our tubes, canoeing, sailing, you name it. I know this lake like the back of my hand. As a matter of fact, right out here, in the far little corner here, is where I used to take our little 12-foot rowboat with a little 6-horsepower motor when I was about 13 years old, and I would come out here every morning and I would go fishing. And I would always, at 2 o'clock, go back home, because then I was getting hungry, and I'd bring my mom a big string of fish, and she always loved when I went out fishing. I have, like I say, a lot of really fond memories of this lake. As a matter of fact, just about in the same spot was the first time I was ever kissed by a boy. Yeah, that's right. What can I say? Anyway, this spot that I'm at right now never existed. This is actually in a field that I believe was owned by the Delaney sisters, who lived right across the street, and I believe they donated this property to the town to use for access to the lake. And this is a really beautiful spot, and like I say, this is the first time I've been at this spot. I've been on the lake plenty of times. Let me bring you over and we'll look at the lake. Now, what we're looking at right now, this is the small lake. There's a small lake and there's a big lake, and they're connected by a channel of water. The whole lake from end to end is 5 miles long. This smaller lake, well, the smaller size lake, I should say, right here is where I learned to water ski. I learned to drive a boat. And those mountains up there that you see with the rock face, there used to be a trail that you can climb on that mountain right there. I'm not sure if the trail is still open. I know the property changed hands a few times, but we used to hike to the top of that mountain, that rock face there, and sit there and look down at the lake. It was absolutely beautiful. Okay, here we are now at the very end of the lake, the most southern part of the lake. It's also where the little lake runs off into, now goes down into the creek bed somewhere. I believe it flows down into the Meadowy River. As you can see out there, in the center is a little tiny island, and I don't know if you can see it, but before the island there's a little white floaty out there. That is as far as you're allowed to come. There used to be an old dam there, and it's very shallow. So you used to turn the boat around in this little channel here and then head back up. Like I said, this is a very special place for me. I love Lake St. Catherine. Okay, now we're sitting up on top of the hill, overlooking the small lake of Lake St. Catherine, and I'll show you some of the view here. It's just very beautiful. Oh, there's some geese flying out there. I know you can see the camps out there on the edge of the lake there. If you look right up above them on that little hillside right there, there's a couple houses up there back about 15 years ago. I believe they were built there. There never used to be anything up there. It used to be a field. I can remember walking up there and sitting up there and looking at the lake and having picnics. Like I said, I've been over every inch of this lake. It's just very beautiful and quiet. We'll go up the road here. As you can see, it's quite a hill. Those mountains off in the distance will be St Vermont. And what we're going to do is go up the road. It's still a hill. When we crest the top of the hill, we'll start to be able to see the big lake that is out in Poultney, Vermont. Now we're over the hill, and as you can see off in the distance there, that's where the big lake is. I can't believe how much all the trees have grown up. You used to be able to see quite a bit of that lake from this spot. But as with time, everything changes. It's still very beautiful. Take you down to the channel so you can look down the channel at both lakes. Okay, here we are down on the channel. You see those mountains off in the distance. That's where we just were. That's the southern part of the lake. That's the little lake. And this is the channel that connects the little lake to the big lake. That house out there to the right, I guess it's kind of like a beige color. I guess, well, if you look at the houses, it's the second one on the right. That's where I grew up. This is where I spent all my summers. This is the marina. And I can remember walking down here as a kid and getting a chocolate chip mint ice cream cone. I loved it. This was my playground. Of course, now that we're looking north, I can feel now the wind is coming. I'm sorry about that. This is the other side of the road, and we're looking north towards the large lake, the big lake as we call it. And what we're going to do is I'll drive down to the end of the lake and show you where it ends down there. Like I said, if you go across the bridge and you look down, there's a little lake. And I can remember being a little kid, my dad driving the boat under this bridge, and it was really cool because you could touch it. So it was fun. Okay, this little body of water here is the furthest northern point on the lake. There's two geese out there. I don't know if you can see them. Let's try to zoom in for you guys. There's two geese out there. And I can remember being little and my dad driving the boat. And I know you can't see it, but in the farthest point down there, there's a little tiny waterway. It can't be more than maybe 6 feet wide, and we'd have to put the motor up and row in order to get to this part of the lake. And it was like we were on an exploration each time we came out here. Very good bass fishing out here. This is a very nice quiet spot. Route 30 runs along the lake here. Again, a very beautiful spot. That mountain that you can see with a building on top, that's actually down by the little lake where we just were. It was behind that rock face mountain, and now you can see it. now on the western side of Lake St. Catherine. We're now looking out over the big lake. And as you can see, it's a nice body of water. And it's a really nice lake to come to. So if you're ever thinking about coming up to Vermont and would like a nice place to stay, it's very cozy here and very nice. So check it out. Okay, we're now on the western side of the lake. As you can see, the big lake is behind me, and we're looking towards the east. The sun is setting behind us. That's why the mountains behind me are all lit up right now. It's very calm, it's very beautiful. There's no action on a lake right now. It's a very private and quiet lake. If you guys ever decide that you want to come to Vermont and you want to stay on the lake, there is a state park, which is a little bit over to the left of me out here, and it's called Lake St. Catherine State Park, and they have campsites for tents, they have lean-tos, and if you wanted to bring your camper, they have facilities for that. There's a boat launch if you want to launch your boat and go fishing or water skiing or whatever you might be doing, just enjoying the lake. There's also a beach area, which is really nice, and they have showers and running water. It's a great place to come, very quiet, very serene, very nice place. It's also a piece of my heart. This is where I grew up as a child. I love this lake and I love every bit of it. So if you guys are, ever looking for some place to come and you want to come to Vermont, check out Lake St. Catherine. A lot of history here, and it's a very small and quiet lake. Thank you for joining me today on me and Lola's little excursion as we came out and explored, and I will be having some more of my favorite spots coming up. I have some really cool little hiking places that I go. Now that our snow is gone and now that the warm weather's setting in, we have a lot more coming. So thank you very much and have a good night.